Any questions? I think surely there's some quite detailed presentations there. Here we go.
Hello, Jörn from Verband Freie Lastenräder Germany. How to tackle the problem of finding micro-hubs, which is essential for cycle logistics?
Great, thank you.
At least within Germany, one of the main barrier for bringing up cycle logistic micro hubs is that currently logistics is not part of urban planning, neither is it part of transportation planning. And what we need to change is not just that we have a sustainable urban logistics plan, but we even need to go one step behind it. We need to have it that an urban planner who is planning a building, who is planning an entire new district or a redevelopment of a district really needs to think about logistics. And they really need to think about what logistics do we want, how much space do we need for logistics, and so on. And this is where we need to go to. And this is actually a pretty long way because it tackles a lot of policy levels and a lot of different ministries to achieve that.
So around micro hubs in France, we have also lots of problems. One of the problems is that it's really expensive to find to pay for micro hub. The other one is that very often it's just forbidden to open micro hubs in different areas because you have to have the city enabling it. So the city can help in trying to understand where the micro hubs are interesting and to change the allocation of buildings and make it possible. And to also of course, when there is new buildings, try to think of including micro hubs in them. But very often they just have to make it with what we have in current old cities. And so what they can do is really try to allocate buildings that are currently dedicated to something else to psychologistic, and that's a big commitment for them. And we didn't really find a solution yet in France, but that's why there is that big program that we have that is going to sponsor around 20 to 50 experimentations on how to have like smaller micro hubs or other things that could replace micro hubs in different cities in France.
Thank you very much. Question, yes, Richard.
Hi, good morning, Richard Armitage, Manchester Bikes. Just to comment on the last thing, in the UK at the moment, the commercial real estate players are moving faster than the city planners. So they are actively seeking to provide hubs now that they've twigged they're needed because they need to recycle empty car parks and sundry other bits of real estate that are not doing so well. But I offer that as a thought. My question is mischievous. European Cycle Logistics Federation, do you miss it?
Yes.
Of course.
Cheers, Richard.
No, but yeah, I can. I say yes. I say very briefly in the presentation, I think the sector needs to develop on European level, and today we have initiative France, Germany, Belgium. There is cycle logistics in other countries starting some organization, and we know that the federation has a role to play to help develop that sector. So I believe in a European-wide impact for cycle logistics. So federation would make sense.
Yeah, and micro hubs, for instance, is a good example for this. Like in this project I was talking about, that was been just launched in France, they had to pay a private company to make a benchmark of what were the experimentation done in Europe or elsewhere in order to know what's being going on. And it would be good if there would be maybe another way to have a more transparent collaboration between the countries, so that we don't always try to reinvent in all countries like concept that could be relevant everywhere.
just want to add, when we speak together, we really see that we see the same issues everywhere. So, you know, we should try to address it on a higher level if that's possible. And yes, that's where the Federation can play a role. The ECLF.
And one thing we need to do as federations is to get the cycle logistics industry more diverse. We are just male, and if I look into the audience, it's also very male dominated, so we have to get a hands on that.
Yes.
Hello, I'm still on micro hubs in France. There are about 500, between 500 and 1,000 priority neighborhoods who are just 3 kilometers around the city center. So here are still like we can work together and be transversal with them. And for example, in Montpellier, it's already going on. You know, so let's work together within 8 sectors or something. So it's not only about mobility or not only about transport, but yeah. So there are possibilities, but I don't know if there's the same way of working like in France, like in Europe. So perhaps the European Cycling Federation could make a study of that, or Richard. That would be really great. Thank you.
Any other questions? Probably only got time. Last one. Yep. Okay.
So Sam, you mentioned in your original presentation the survey results, and you know, what is your estimated total courier cycle logistics operators versus the respondents and the respondents to the survey? Is it 5 times, 2 times? What's the estimate of the total market?
I think it's quite difficult to say. I mean, what we've done there, we've done, as I said, for about 5 years. That was one of the strongest response rates that we've had during that 5 years. I think the strongest. So I think that's positive. And what I mentioned as well is that, you know, we're seeing operators now complete this survey from other parts of Europe. You know, Estonia, Lithuania, Portugal. It's great to see. What we're actually capturing, I'm not quite sure. And it would be really interesting to sort of develop that. One of the things that we've discussed as well with the other cycle logistics federations or associations is to talk about, you know, expanding organized efforts in other parts of Europe and you know, putting in place best practices on how that organization from companies and putting in place associations in other countries could happen, having some sort of toolbox or something like that. You know, there are the beginnings of initiatives, I think, in a number of European countries, but getting to that organized, finalized associate status, I think is a bit beyond some of them at the moment. So, yeah, I think once we can get some better representation as well throughout Europe, it would be interesting to also get a better picture for what the total market size is. So, yeah.